Well, hello, and welcome once again to Stuff and Things listening party. And you might be able to tell by the t-shirt that I'm wearing that we're going to be talking about Nirvana. And the album we're going to be talking about is their seminal 1991 release, Nevermind. Now, I've gotten some feedback on my other listening party videos where people say, you talk too much at the beginning, get to the music more quickly. So I don't want to go too crazy with the history behind this album, but this is a super seminal album. And especially for me personally, it was a very influential album. When this album came out, I was 13. I didn't really discover it. It came out in September 24th, 1991. And I probably didn't really hear about it until I was 14. So the subsequent year is when it really started hitting. I had heard of Nirvana. I had heard the album Bleach. Didn't love it because, when Bleach came out, I was 11 or something like that. I probably heard it when I was around 12, maybe for the first time. Bleach came out on a smaller local label, Sub Pop, which was an alternative label. Nevermind came out on the GGC imprint for Geffen Records. This was also the first release by Nirvana to feature Dave Grohl on drums. I think one of the tracks on the album still had their old drummer. This was produced by Butch Vig. It was their first major label release. And at the time, this whole idea of grunge didn't really exist yet. And this is something that I'm going to try not to rant too much about, but I don't believe in grunge. I don't think grunge is actually really a thing. I never did. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest. I grew up in a town called Bellingham, Washington, which is about 90 miles north of Seattle. I had heard of some of these bands. And when Nirvana finally hit with Nevermind, and then especially with In Utero, everyone started equating all these bands to each other. People talked about Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and Alice in Chains and Mudhoney and Nirvana, and they put them all in the same category, this supposed grunge genre, which never existed. There is nothing even remotely similar between Nirvana and Pearl Jam. I hated Pearl Jam. I loathed Pearl Jam. And I still do. Hated it. To me, Pearl Jam was like a hippie hair band that sort of learned how to play rock. Soundgarden was like a metal band to me. I didn't like any of these bands. I loved Nirvana. The reason I loved Nirvana so much is because even though they had kind of a heavier sound, they still had a catchier sort of pop sensibility. You could tell that Kurt Cobain listened to the Beatles. I listened to the Beatles. I grew up listening to the Beatles. And no, I'm not that old. As I mentioned, I was 13 when this album came out in 1991. But when I was first learning about popular music, it was 60s bands. It was bands like the Beatles, bands like The Who, a lot of British 60s stuff. And then when I heard Nirvana, it had that heaviness that a young 14-year-old boy would be into. It really tapped into the angst that you feel when you're that age. But there were still hooks. There was still a catchy melody to the music. And it wasn't this kind of hippie jam band thing. It wasn't this ridiculously exaggerated hair band aesthetic. I hated all the music that was popular in 1990 and 1991. I hated bands like Guns N' Roses. I remember as a kid, my dad would screw with me. He'd call me into the room and be like, you need to look at this. You need to look at this thing on the television. And it would be a Guns N' Roses video on MTV because he knew how much I hated it. I hated bands like that. But Nirvana came along and they had this crazy heavy sensibility, but they combined it with really catchy pop melodic hooks. And it just kind of opened up popular music to me. After Nirvana, I started researching other bands that had influenced them, like the Pixies. I think I remember reading an interview way back in the day when Kurt Cobain said that if there was any other band he could be in, it would be the Pixies. So I discovered the Pixies through Nirvana. The Sex Pistols. I delved into a lot of British post-punk stuff. I discovered the Wipers, which was, I think, a Portland band that was mid-'80s or so. I think Nirvana covered one of their songs, Return of the Rat, at one point. It was like a B-side on an album. I discovered all these other bands. And to me, they really were exactly what I was looking for at the age in which I finally was aware of Nirvana. and especially because of this album, Nevermind. Like I mentioned, it was released in 1991 on DGC Records, produced by Butch Vig in Sound City Studios in Van Nuys, California. They also did some stuff at Smart Studios in Madison, Wisconsin, which was Butch Vig's kind of home studio. Primarily written by Kurt Cobain, pretty much every song. I think the only songs not written entirely by Kurt Cobain were Smells Like Teen Spirit, where credit is given also to Chris Novoselic and Dave Grohl, and then Endless Nameless, where Grohl and Novoselic are credited as well. It became an unexpected critical and commercial hit. It sort of took a little while for the album to really catch on. I didn't hear about it as soon as it was released, as I mentioned. It was probably when I was like in 8th grade that I really started being aware that Nirvana was this popular band. It was in January 11th of 1992 that it replaced Michael Jackson's Dangerous as the number one spot on the US Billboard 200 list, and it was selling approximately 300,000 copies a week. So this album really, in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of a lot of people in the music industry, sort of signaled the death knell for kind of these older acts that had been popular in the late 80s, these hair metal bands, people like Michael Jackson. Kurt Cobain was dubbed as the voice of his generation, which I think is kind of overwrought. I don't think he was ever trying to do that, but it really did create this whole aesthetic, the grunge thing, which I've already mentioned I don't believe in. I don't think most of these bands that just happen to play in the same area, who happen to be from the same place, the Pacific Northwest, I don't think any of them really sounded like each other unless bands coming afterwards were purposely trying to sound like this supposed grunge sound. I hate that whole discourse. Nirvana was pretty much the only band from that genre, and I still don't believe it's a genre that I actually liked. I am kind of on the cusp between Generation X and Millennials. I was, I think, the very last bit of Generation X. And Nirvana really kind of encapsulates what I think the aesthetic of Generation X is. It's this counterculture, being distrustful of anything that's too popular, not being into things that are mainstream, really gravitating towards alternative things, alternative music. There was a real punk aesthetic back then that people were into. People were rediscovering a lot of original first wave punk bands. It's weird for me now when I see younger people. Here's my old man yells at clouds moment. When it seems like cool pop culture is just whatever is mainstream. It's really interesting that so many people seem to really embrace mainstream pop culture when, for my generation, that was the antithesis of what was cool. You were not supposed to like things that were super popular and mainstream. And that's why it was kind of interesting for a band like Nirvana to hit so hard, because they were an alternative band. They were kind of the antithesis of everything that was popular, everything that was mainstream in the music industry. Nevermind became one of the most acclaimed and influential albums in the history of music. It was added to the Library of Congress, to the National Recording Registry in 2004 for being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. It's frequently ranked very highly on lists of the best rock albums of all times. It was number 6 on Rolling Stone's 2020 and 23 lists of the 500 greatest albums of all time. I bought a guitar because of Nirvana and Nevermind. I read back in the day that he used Fender guitars, like Jaguars, Mustangs, I think Strats on this recording, and a Boss DS1 distortion pedal. So when I was 14 or 15 years old, I got a Squier Stratocaster and a Boss DS1 distortion pedal. This is that distortion pedal that I got from the early 90s. This is the Nirvana sound on Nevermind. It's really distorted guitars with the DS1 chorus pedals. I think he used a small clone chorus pedal. So a chorus pedal, Boss DS1 distortion. I was sitting in my room trying to play all these songs. I think I learned pretty much all of them. That was the other thing, too, is that these songs were not super hard or difficult to learn. It's funny because people talk about the grunge aesthetic and how there aren't supposed to be any guitar solos. There are quite a few guitar solos on this album, but they're not these, rock god, guitar solos that you would have heard on a Guns N' Roses album or something like that. So hugely influential to me, hugely influential to the music industry. It's amazing how much this album and Nirvana has endured. I still see kids wearing Nirvana t-shirts. I still hear kids listening to Nirvana, talking about Nirvana. And I think it really does speak to the timeless nature and the quality of this album, that it still is here. It is still popular. Nirvana is still popular. So let's get into this. Like I mentioned, I had been aware of Bleach previously. And I think when I first heard that, I didn't love it. Because at the time I was listening to things like the Beatles and the Who and stuff. And to me, it was just too heavy. It sounded kind of metalish to me, and I wasn't into metal music. But Smells Like Teen Spirit, specifically, when I first heard that song, and then the album Nevermind, it worked. It was angry and aggressive, but it also had those poppy hooks that I liked. It was catchy. It was melodic. And the first single from the album, and the single that really propelled this album into the stratosphere, was Smells Like Teen Spirit. You've all heard this. Such a heavy riff to start it out. And then we get into that dynamic thing that maybe is a little overplayed on this album, but the going into a very quiet section and then a very heavy section. Probably one of the first songs I ever learned on guitar. Right off the bat, you're hearing that dynamic thing. Quiet section, really loud chorus section. Kurt Cobain's voice it sounds effortlessly raw. He's one of the best rock screamers I think that has ever existed. I've heard, though, that he had all sorts of vocal issues where he would really strain his voice and ruin his voice. Supposedly by the time they were recording In Utero, Steve Albini, I can't remember if it was him who was encouraging Kurt Cobain or what the situation was, but Kurt was trying to sing very quietly, and he actually had his baby with him, but he was able to yell quietly, and maybe he was trying to preserve his voice. But here, just a perfect rock yell kind of vocal. Very simple. I'm not going to play guitar, but just power chords. So at the time, when I was learning how to play guitar, I didn't really know what a full bar chord was, but this is just a triad. I haven't played this in a while, but basically just playing 3 notes of a chord as opposed to the entire chord. And it's just super simple. The little ding ding. I learned the solo for this. There is a solo in this song, but it just had so much power and punch to it. And especially compared to other stuff that was popular at the time, I just had never really heard anything like it. That's not to say there had never been anything like it, but as far as mainstream music, I had never heard anything like it. Nice, simple, but effective bass line by Chris Novoselic. I remember trying to decipher these lyrics as a kid. We didn't have the internet back then, so you had to like listen, see what was he saying. A mulatto, an albino, a mosquito, my libido. What does it mean? Does it matter? Probably not. No solos in grunge, eh? Simple solo, but it's still a solo. Basically just mirroring the vocal line. Sounds like a little bit of the chorus is on that solo as well. Chorus pedal. Some people will say the lyrics on this album are just kind of basic and boring and they don't really mean anything. I think to a certain extent, maybe it is just kind of, I'm rhyming some words that are kind of nonsense. But it managed to convey something, at least to me at the time, especially this song being the first track on the album, you know, the iconic line, "Here we are now, entertain us." It conveyed a sense of angst. Angst is the main thing in this album to me. I don't know. It works. If you really try to pay attention to the lyrics, you might find, okay, does this make sense? What's he trying to say? Is this pretentious? Is this just like something that somebody would scribble on a notebook when they were 14 years old? I don't know, but it works. It works in the context of the album and of the songs. A mosquito. So, the album starts off with a bang, with the first single, Smells Like Teen Spirit. Iconic, seminal rock song. Still works. I think it still holds up really well. In Bloom, the next track. This one really spoke to me specifically because it seemed to be describing the type of like jockish bro that I was aware of back in the day. And that was the other thing too, like Nirvana felt very personal to me because he was from the same region as me. The band was from the Pacific Northwest, and it seemed like it was describing people I knew. In fact, I knew his younger brother, his younger half-brother, Chad Cobain. I met him several times. Like, I knew people who knew him. It was very, I don't know, it felt like they were my band or our band. They belonged to us. And In Bloom, to me, was describing the jockish bros that irritated me back in the day. Again, very simple riffage. The change moves. Spring is here again. Rip the dark plans. So I think there was even an interview where they're saying he's the one who likes all our pretty songs. He likes to sing along. He likes to shoot his gun, but he don't know what it means. Basically describing like bros that would come to their show and like mosh in the front row, but who he felt weren't really understanding the music or didn't get it. And I felt that way too. Some backing vocals from Dave Grohl. Really heavy drumming from Dave Grohl. More. Nature is a whore. Who's on through? And rage bloom. Make this louder for me. There we go. So an arrangement instrumentation, very heavy, but it has this kind of sing-along, catchy quality to it. And here we go. Another song, second song in the album, second guitar solo. Kind of a guitar solo. But it matches the aesthetic of the song perfectly. In Bloom, second track. It's cool. You know, people will criticize the musicianship of Nirvana. I don't think most people would criticize Dave Grohl's drumming. I mean, he's super loud. He's on time. I've heard, I think it was Chris Novoselic saying that when Dave Grohl entered the band, like previous to the recording of this album, that everything just kind of took off from there. It was like finally everything was in place. And I think he was just the perfect drummer at the perfect time for this band. And Chris Novoselic, his bass lines are kind of rollicking, kind of poppy. They seem kind of basic, like just kind of single note things, but I think it works. It matches the music really well. I don't know. In Bloom might not be my favorite track from the album, but I wouldn't say there are any bad tracks on this album. Now we come to Come As You Are, which I would assume sold millions of chorus pedals to young people back in the day. This opening riff for Come As You Are, I remember practicing many times as like a 15-year-old sitting in my room. So we have some chorus. We have a nice, memorable riff, Come As You Are. I remember playing this for hours at a time. Come as you are, as I just think his vocals are fantastic. I don't think I'm the only one who thinks that, but just this rawness to them, but they're so melodic at the same time. Okay, our first chorus. Comes that dynamic again. We're going to have another solo here. 3 songs, 3 solos so far. And this one, again, is just kind of mirroring the vocal melody. In Bloom was different, but this Smells Like Teen Spirit and Come As You Are just kind of mirroring the vocals. That line, "I don't have a gun," would become sadly ironic in the future for obvious reasons. Yeah, I think just a great song. Nothing super complicated or groundbreaking in the structure, you know, just pretty basic song structure, verse, chorus, verse. There's a solo thrown in there. They're doing that dynamic thing, and it makes sense that Kurt Cobain said that he was such a fan of the Pixies, because obviously that was something that the Pixies did a lot, where they have the quiet section and then the screamy, loud section. And that could be overdone. But by the time In Utero came out, you know, they were doing a lot more interesting kind of experimental things with their music. So I think it works just fine on this album. Now, speaking of that dynamic thing, the quiet and the loud, the next song, 4th track on the album, Breed, is pretty much just all the loud part. And this was 14 or 15-year-old me with my bright yellow Sony Walkman in my room, just going like this, dancing all around, listening to this at probably dangerous levels. We could plant a house, we could build a tree, I don't even care, we could have all 3, she said. I don't know. Is this a comment on the typical nuclear family, buying a home, having kids. It's called Breed. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. The words sound cool mashed up together. If that's the message, that's a fine message, I suppose. If there isn't really any message and it's all just kind of a coincidence, that's fine too, because it sounded cool to me at the time. It still sounds cool to me now. Yeah, this is just all hard the whole time. And now there's kind of a solo in this. Or at least an instrumental intermission. That echo is perfectly placed. Duh. So like I said, this probably caused a lot of headaches and even mild concussions for the 14-year-old Bradley as I was headbanging to this in my room. I wasn't allowed to listen to this album, actually. My parents thought it was evil, and so I had to record it on tape and label the tape something different. I can't remember what I had it labeled as. And then I could only listen to it on my Walkman. And I had one of those old bright yellow Sony Walkman. And yeah, I would just listen to this at the highest volume possible and thrash myself around my room. Okay, next is Lithium. So we're getting into a little more mellow rock, I would say. Interesting song. Had a great video, I remember, on MTV. Another song I tried to learn on guitar. I think I learned it. I don't know if I can remember it now. I'm so happy because today found my friends. They're in my head. I'm so ugly. That's okay. If so are you. Broke our mirrors. Sunday mornings every day for all I care. I'm not that scared. My candles in a daze 'cause I found God. Quiet, loud dynamic again. And the chorus is just, yeah, yeah. I'm so lonely, that's okay, shake my head. I really enjoyed this though, the bass line and then that little guitar line over top, kind of syncopated, and the drums with the hi-hat and everything just kind of making it all flow together. It works. I'm so horny, that's okay, my will is good. Yeah. I guess you could call this part a bridge. I love you. I'm not going to. As a kid, I could never figure out what he was saying there. It sounded like cray. Is it cry? I don't know. But again, that was what we did back then. What is he saying? You listen to it over and over and over again and try to figure it out because you didn't have lyrics. I don't think there were any lyrics in the CD. Maybe there was, but I don't remember looking at them. Crack, maybe? Pretty iconic bass line.
I'm so happy cause today I found my friends in my head. I'm so ugly, that's okay, cause so are you. Broke our mirrors Sunday mornings every day for all I care. I'm not scared. Light my candles in a daze, cause I found God.
I suppose you could read this song as being a statement on taking medication for mood-related issues. Lithium is a medication. Maybe he's describing what happens on lithium. Again, when I was 14 years old, I was trying to get meaning out of these songs, but to me, it was more just the mood, the vibe, the feeling they engendered. And as like an angsty 14-year-old, it worked. Now, the next song, Polly, this one I definitely remember trying to discuss with my friends. I think there was some controversy around the song that I wasn't really aware of at the time, but it's basically, it seems to be describing somebody who has kidnapped a woman and is doing horrible things to the woman and being told through the perspective of that person. I remember discussing this with a friend at the time, like, Polly wants a cracker, guess I should get off her first. So they're not talking about a bird. They're definitely not talking about a parrot. And then, you know, you piece it together and like, oh, this is pretty dark. I guess you can take that as you will. You know, there's been art about horrible people doing horrible things. And I guess trying to put yourself into the perspective of somebody who has assaulted somebody and is doing horrible things to them. I don't know. It's an interesting song. Very interesting, kind of come down from the rest of the album a little. I wouldn't say tranquil because the subject matter is so dark, but as far as just the feel of the music, it is much more quiet, mostly acoustic, interesting song. Polly, track number 6. Very basic riff. Great acoustic guitar sound, though.
Think I should get off her first. Think she wants some water to put out the blowtorch. Isn't me have a seed? Let me clip dirty wings. Let me take a ride. Cut yourself. Want some help? please myself. Got some rope, haven't told. Promise you, haven't true. Let me take a ride, cut yourself. Want some help, please myself.
Even though a lot of the instrumentation is simple, song structure seems kind of basic in a lot of these songs, Kurt Cobain does really interesting things with melody, where he goes places that you wouldn't necessarily expect him to go with the melody. Just listen to the melodic content of these songs. And I mean, now the stuff has become just like rock standards now. People know these songs so well, but it's pretty unique, the things that he does with melody. Just listen to his vocal lines.
Only wants a cracker. Maybe she would like some food. She asked me to untie her. She's a very nice for a few. Isn't me, haven't seen. Let me clip dirty wings. Let me take a ride, cut yourself. Want some help, please myself. Got some rope, haven't told. Promise you, haven't true. Let me take a ride, cut yourself. Want some help, please myself.
And that's not Dave Grohl doing the backing vocals. That's obviously Kurt Cobain overdubbed. Very effective backing vocals.
All he says, her back hurts.
At least I'm pretty sure it's not Dave Grohl.
As me. She called me off my guard. Amazes me the will of instinct. Isn't me, haven't seen. Let me clip dirty wings. Let me take a ride, cut yourself. Want some help, please myself. Got some rope, haven't told. Promise you, haven't true. Let me take a ride, cut yourself. Want some help, please myself.
So, interesting little transition from the heavier stuff on the album. Polly, kind of controversial song at the time, probably not as controversial as the song that would be on their next album, In Utero, which I'm sure you will know the name of if you have listened to that album. But now we're getting to the midpoint of the record, and the quieter section is going to end for this next song here. Track number 7, Territorial Pissings. Chris Novoselic. Barely 2 minutes long, this song. So basically 3 chords, screaming, punk aesthetic, I guess. I can remember school dances where somehow the song would be played during the school dance. Every girl pretty much would leave the dance floor and all the boys would just smash into each other. For the remainder of the song, I told you about, as a kid listening to this album on my headphones and Smells Like Teen Spirit and like headbanging to it. With this song, I was probably throwing myself into the walls, ripping my shirt off. It just did that. Is it groundbreaking? Is it complex? Is it saying anything super important? I don't know. Probably not, but I liked it as a 14-year-old boy, and I still like it. Don't mean they're not after you. Hey, okay. Short, simple, to the point. Territorial Pissings, 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Doesn't need to be any longer than that. Next song, Drain You, might be my favorite song off of the album. I think it's the one other than Smells Like Teen Spirit, but Smells Like Teen Spirit was maybe overplayed for me. I still love the song, but it was just so popular, and it was like you couldn't get away from it in 1991, 1992. It just took the world by storm. Drain You, to me, I think was the song that really got to me the most off of this album. Track number 8, Drain You.
One baby, two, another says I'm lucky to meet you. I don't care what you think, unless it is about me. It is now my duty to completely drain you. I travel through to end up in your affection. Shooting me for you, pass it back and forth. Give a passionate kiss from my mouth to yours. I like you.
Okay, so let's talk about the lyrics here for a minute. One baby to another says, I'm lucky to have met you. I don't care what you think unless it is about me. It is now my duty to completely drain you. I travel through a tube and end up in your infection. Blah, 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 blah. Chew your meat for you. Pass it back and forth in a passionate kiss from my mouth to yours. What does that mean? I don't know, but it sounds really cool. And it sounded really cool to me, especially when I was 14. It just is so evocative, this weird little vignette. I can imagine two babies. Somehow, I guess they wouldn't be twins. In my imagination as a preteen or teenager, I imagine them in separate bellies, somehow communicating to each other in utero. And I don't know, it's just this weird little evocative vignette or picture that is built with these words. And for some reason, I find it super effective. I don't really know what it means. I suppose I could try to explicate this and write all the lyrics down and really think about it. I don't know if he even intended it to mean anything super important or deep, but it works. It's weird. It's evocative. It's kind of unsettling. And I love it. The instrumentation or just the musical structure as well. It's just such a simple riff, but it works so well. I love the drumming on this. The bass is just there perfectly in time. The rhythm section for Nirvana was just kind of metronomic. Like there weren't a lot of crazy things going on in the background. Dave Grohl was really loud. He did some interesting fills and stuff too, but it was mostly just the power and the kind of driving quality of the bass and the drums. And I think that helped because Kurt Cobain, they were a 3-piece, so they really had to have this really nice, solid structure in the background for Kurt Cobain to play over. Obviously, they did overdubs of guitar on the album, but when they were playing live, you know, he was the only guitar until kind of In Utero tour era when they had, what's his name? Pat Smear was playing guitar with them as well. But it all works. It all works. Okay, and again, I wouldn't really call this a solo, just kind of an interesting musical interlude. We're going to get that build and that build and that build and that build until there's finally this release. There you go. Amazing scream there, too.
One baby to another says I'm lucky to meet you.
I don't care what you think unless it is about me. It is now my duty to completely drain you.
Let's travel through a tube and I'm in your infection. So you make me feel
I sit back and forth in a passionate kiss from my mouth to yours, and lips to lips. You're my vine rips. I like you. I still have no idea what he's saying at the end there. You're my Vilium rips. I don't know. Don't care. Loved that song. As a youngster, love it still. Drain You. Now, Lounge Act, number 9. Maybe my least favorite song off the album. I don't know. It's been a while since I listened to this album, but let's see how we deal with Lounge Act. Track number 9. Oh, no, I really do like this a lot now that I remember it. Oh, it has a great chorus, too. My security.
I can let you smoke me.
Liked it, but it couldn't work. And I'll take a turn. Don't regret a thing, and I got this friend you see, and it makes me feel, and I wanted more than I could steal. I'll go out myself and wear a shield. I'll go out my way to prove she'll still smell on you. Just the phrasing, the delivery of that chorus, the melody is great. I don't know what it is. I remember the song very distinctly because that phrase or that line, I still smell her on you. And I just felt that was so evocative. I don't think I had really had a relationship at that point, but I don't know. I was just imagining what the song could mean because, again, we didn't have the internet back then. And just thinking of somebody's friend stealing his girlfriend and the guy just literally taking it literally as a 14-year-old, like, I can smell her on you. And I just thought that was so weirdly evocative. It had nothing sexual, no sexual connotation for me. It was just like her perfume or something like that. But the rest of the lyrics, I don't know if I ever really teased out what they were supposed to mean, but I just love the melody. I love the phrasing, especially of that chorus, is great. Afraid I'm never knowing fear. Experiencing the thing to me. I keep fighting jealousy. Till it's fucking gone, I got this friend you see. Makes me feel I want it more than I could steal. I will rest myself for where I should. I go out of my way, move I steal. And even just the instrumentation is this like ding 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 ding. The strumming of the guitar in the background is just kind of this like this sort of feel to it. I don't know. I'm liking it. Amazing rock yelling. Where's he going here? Lounge Jack, yeah. I don't think that is my least favorite song on the album. Or I don't know if I could pick a least favorite song on the album. Oh, it's jumping into the next one too quickly. It's all good. It's all good. Let's just decide that is the case right now. The next track, Stay Away. So again, this one is just kind of all hard. They're not doing that quiet, loud, dynamic thing. It's just driving, pounding away from the very beginning. Another one of the songs on this album that made me dance around like a little weirdo in my bedroom, probably in my underwear. Stay Away. And perfectly encapsulates teen angst. Stay away. I guess they do that dynamic thing a little bit. Little bass breakdown here. So this is just so great. I mean, just apart from the structure of the song, it's this driving, amazing, just propulsive song. But just imagine being 14 years old and hearing this song. Monkey see, monkey do. So it's this whole like, I'm not like everybody else. Look at how everybody just copies everybody out in the world. I'd rather be dead than cool. And then the chorus is just screaming, stay away, stay away. Like I know Kurt Cobain was in his 20s when he wrote this, but it is just so perfectly catering to the mentality of a young Gen X boy in 1991 or 1992, whenever I was really listening to this. It's almost too perfect. Another nice build up to the big crescendo, the big finish. That might have been one of the lines that made my parents not want me to listen to this. God is gay. Yeah. I haven't listened to this album in a while. At least not just sat down and listened to the album. I've had, songs that come up in my playlist and things like that. But it is amazing to me how much this is still holding up for me. I think there is a real timeless quality to this album, and he really was able to tap into something with these songs. The next song, On a Plane, again, I think I've mentioned this for 3 or 4 other songs, but might be my favorite song on the album. It just works. We'll get into why it works once we start listening to track number 11, On a Plane.
Start this off without any words. I got so high, scrapped till I bled. Love myself better than you. Know it's wrong, so what should I do? The finest day that I've ever had is when I learned to cry off a man. Love myself better than you. Know it's wrong, so what should I do?
Oh, that melody is fantastic. Start this off without any words. Just, I don't know. The lyrical content, I think, is really good too. It works. It doesn't sound as kind of slapdash and just like rhyming random things as a few of the songs on this album do. It's telling a story. It's setting a scene. It's giving you a picture in your head. But the melody, the melodic content, I just love the melody and the phrasing too. He's just does a really great job with phrasing and getting everything. Like the hook is the melody, the hook is the vocal melody. Sometimes the hook is the guitar melody, or sometimes the hook is the guitar or the riff. But here especially, it's just that vocal melody is the hook of the song. And it's so catchy, so melodic. It just works so well. This has a fantastic bridge as well, we'll get to.
My mother died
Every night, safe to say, quote me on that. Love myself. I can't scream.
know it's wrong.
What should I do?
Black sheep got blackmailed again. Forgot to put numbers it called. Love myself better than you. Know it's wrong. So what should I do? I'm on a plane.
Getting to this amazing bridge here. Just listen to the melody of the bridge.
What the hell am I trying to say? It is not time to make it unclear, to write off lines that don't make sense. Love myself better than you. Know it's wrong, so what should I do? One more special message to go, and then I'm done, and I can go home. Love myself better than you. Know it's wrong, so what should I do? I'm on a plane, I can't complain. 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 I'm on a plane.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of the highlights off the album. It's funny, when I was a kid and was listening to this song, I thought, even though it's not spelled that way, it's not spelled Plane as though an aeroplane. I thought he meant I'm on a plane, like, you know, in spite of whatever other issues I may be having in my life. I'm a musician and I'm playing in bands and I'm on a plane right now going to a show, so I can't complain. I don't think that's actually the meaning of the song, but that's what I thought it meant when I was a youngster. So now we're coming to track number 12, Something in the Way, which for a lot of people was the last song on the album. There was a hidden track, Endless Nameless, track number 13. I can't remember if my original copy of Nevermind had Endless Nameless on it. I'm not totally sure, because some of them didn't include that track. It was forgotten on some of the albums. But we will get to that track after Something in the Way, which did end the album for some people. Again, we're bringing it down a little bit, getting kind of acoustic. Some might say emo these days, or maybe not these days, but in the early 2000s. A lot of lore built up around this song. There were a lot of rumors that we would discuss about the lyrical content.
Underneath the bridge, top is sprung a leak, and the animals are trapped. Have all become my pets, and I'm living off of grass and the drippings from the ceiling. It's okay to eat fish, 'cause they don't have any feelings. Something in the way, something in the way, yeah. Something in the way. Something in the way, yeah.
So, obviously, a much slower, more sedate song, kind of a palate cleanser at the end of the album. I love the droney quality to his vocals, and there's almost kind of a lullaby quality to the chorus, just something in the way, repeated. Like, I don't know. It's interesting, just the juxtaposition with all the other songs on the album. As far as the the rumors when I was a kid, you know, we would hear the song. He's talking about living under a bridge, his tarp leaking, his living off of grass and the drippings from the ceiling. So we heard or we just knew that he lived under a bridge in Aberdeen, Washington at some point. I think maybe he did for a short period of time, but to us, that was just gospel, like Kurt Cobain lived under a bridge when he was younger. And this is the song about that experience. And then we knew people who went and saw the bridge, or people were taking pictures of the bridge. Like, all of this was wrapped up into kind of the mythology of Kurt Cobain when I was a kid. I should probably do some research to see which bridge he supposedly lived under, how long he lived under a bridge. It might have been only a couple nights, but this does a good job of conveying that, even though with this kind of lullaby quality to the music and the melody, the lyrics are obviously, you know, kind of depressing, kind of dark. Good ending for an album, though.
Something in the way.
The strings on top, that's the first time we've heard any strings in this album.
Something in the way. Yeah. Underneath the bridge, top is sprung a leak.
Yeah, it could definitely lull you to sleep. It's really pretty, actually.
It's okay to eat fish, 'cause they don't have any feelings. Something in the way. Something in the way.
We have a little bit of that dynamic, the soft, louder dynamic, but you're going just from acoustic guitar and a little bass to then the drums kicking in, the vocals getting a little more energetic.
Something in the way. Yeah. Something in the way. Something in the way. Yeah. Something in the way. Something in the way. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that still really holds up quite well. It's very pretty, actually. It's a very pretty song. But that isn't actually the last song, even though it was for some people. And if people didn't realize there was a hidden track, they might never have heard Endless Nameless. They might just have turned it off after Something in the Way. But there was one more track, number 13, Endless Nameless. Longest track on the album, actually. Sounding a little apocalyptic. Basically just kind of a freak out thrash section or session. What was that, Kurt? I couldn't understand you. I'm pretty sure my copy did not have Endless Nameless on it originally. Like James Bondy quality to this part. Not even halfway over yet, gang. Maybe I'll use this for a bathroom break. Did I miss anything? Damn it. We have to listen to the whole thing. Those are the rules. Almost over. And there we go. Okay, the hidden track that maybe could have stayed hidden on the album. Yeah, that is my least favorite track on the album for sure, but it's kind of fun. And you have to admire that this is their first major label release and they put a song like that on the album. That's kind of a nice FU to the major label, showing that we are still punk, we're still alternative. There you go, gang. That is Nirvana, Nevermind. I think it still holds up. I think it is still a good album. Obviously, it has its place in history. It is a seminal, super influential album. But I think just as a piece of music, it still holds up. It's still worth listening to. I would have to say that I probably would pick In Utero as my favorite Nirvana album. I think there's just a little bit more variety. There's plenty of variety on this album as well, but there's just maybe a few more interesting things going on In Utero. Some of the songs that I just really love on that album. We may do that in the future, but you can't deny the effect that this album had on rock music in particular and just the music industry in general. Inspired an entire generation of young children, well, young people to pick up guitars and try to form bands. It was the album, I would say, of the 90s, at least if you're talking about rock music or alternative music. And yeah, it's still good. I think it will still be around in another 90, 20, 30, another 34 or 35 years. I think this album will still be listened to and still be considered one of the greatest albums of all time. Thank you so much for coming along with me as we listened to Nirvana, Nevermind. Stay tuned. We'll be doing some more interesting albums in the future. I'm going to be trying to pick out some of the more seminal ones, some of the albums that meant the most to me growing up and really influenced me. So until next time, until we meet again, I've been your good friend Bradley. You've been the audience. This has been a Stuff and Things listening party. I'll see you later. Endless, Nameless. Yeah, that is a good title for that song.